got this on the computer, so we record it. We're gonna go live on Facebook. Okay, so yeah, that's what you have to do. You just actually just have to keep smiling, because this stupid thing, it sometimes go live before it shows live. So yeah, so we just have to go in smiling. Okay, let me just see. Go. Let me just tell everyone. Okay. Right. Okay. Ready? Wait, I'm gonna just press go live. Okay, we're going live in a second. I'll tell you when it's going already. All right, so I think we should be going now. Right, I think we are live. Give me a second. Okay, so we are finally live now. Okay, guys. Hi, everyone. So I'd just like to welcome everybody to another episode of Pasxcel Live. And I'm very glad everybody's here. Thank you for those who messaged and asked, when are we starting? We just got a slight technical delay, so we're finally here. So I would like to thank everybody for tuning in. Today we have Miss Darshana with us, who has worked with numerous patients with a wide range of mental health issues, such as depression, anxiety, self-esteem issues, suicidal ideation, and many more at University Malaya Medical University during her internship period. She has also taken part in organizing group counseling sessions and programs for school students as well as students with disabilities. Hence, we are glad that we have a counselor who is well versed in today's topic, where we will be discussing how parents can help their teenagers cope with mental health issues and more. So, there are a few things that we want to discuss today, right, Ms. Darshana? First of all, thank you for being on the show. So how are you feeling today?
I'm fine, a little nervous. Thank you very much for calling me in. I really appreciate this opportunity. I hope that some people out there will learn something out of today's discussion here.
All right, great. So I'll just get started right away with one of the main issues that I wanted to discuss today. Actually, we had a lot of discussion about this in Pasxcel. So currently we are under RMCO, right? So it's more relaxed. A lot of rules has been relaxed. Schools are bound to open again. There are talks that they are probably going to open on the 1st of July.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. However, during the MCO, we saw a sudden change overnight to everyone's routine, including teenagers. So as we know, we are living in an environment that's constantly changing. Everything is changing every day. Automation, AI, digital disruption, and now, of course, COVID-19 is just an addition. So with this changing landscape, right, how do you think parents and teachers can first take care of their own mental health? And also, can you give us some tips on how parents and teachers probably can provide guidance to the people that they take care, to their wards? Yeah, that's...
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for the question. Actually, constant changes, like what you said, it's a normal thing. We all experience it. So first step is learning to accept. Acceptance is very important. So first and foremost, all parents or educators out there have to accept that this change is happening. It is a real thing. So after accepting the changes and all, that's when you get to do the next step, take the next step, make some planning. If you're still in a denial state, then it's going to be difficult to make the next step. So first is acceptance is very important. So how, in terms of how are they going to cope with it? So when after you accept, negative emotions are very common to experience. Like once you know these changes is happening, you'll be frustrated, you'll be stressed, you'll be anxious and being worried about what's going to happen next. It's all a normal reaction.
Mm.
But when these reactions are overwhelming, that's when the problem starts. When you start portraying these reactions or projecting this reaction to your family or any of your loved ones. So that's when you have to learn that something is wrong. You have to start learning to cope with the situation better.
Mm.
So there are many ways that you can deal with the situation better, such as main thing is being healthy, staying healthy, prioritize your health first. So give importance to yourself. So make sure you eat a balanced diet, get a quality sleep. That is very important. And exercise, do some exercise. And next is routine. Routines are very important because when you have this change, there'll be a disruption in your routine. So that's why when you have this kind of changes, try to maintain or try to create a new routine and try to follow the routine. So
Mm.
this routine gives you a sense of control in your life.
Correct, correct.
All right, so this is one of the way.
Uh,
And apart from that, you also have to evaluate your thoughts
okay.
during this time of crucial time. You evaluate your thoughts to see if you're having any kind of irrational thoughts
Okay.
because of this pandemic or any kind of thoughts. So evaluate the thoughts instead of thinking that you're a victim. Try to think as a navigator. For example, when you're stuck in a storm and you're on a boat, uh, instead of thinking that you're a victim, try to think you're a navigator, whereby you have a control that is the boat but not the storm. So
Mhm.
you have a control of your life.
Okay.
So take it in such a way. Yeah, be a navigator instead of a victim. So then you are able to make some plans and try to be proactive always. And if at all nothing can help you to cope with this situation better, try
Mm.
to seek help from others. Yeah, that is very important.
Right, right.
And how yeah, coming back to the next question that you were asking about how children's and all can
Cool.
it's through observation, you see,
Uh-huh.
because how we cope with the situation, we are
Mhm.
showing an example to them.
Okay.
So they observe us, how are we doing it. So this is also a video that recently I watched, like how children actually observe more than actually
Correct.
listening to the parents and educators. So
Yes.
there's this video whereby a mother and son, they'll be, it's just a simple video. The mom will be asking the son to hold his uh, chin,
Mm.
but then she'll be pointing at her cheek,
Mm.
and the son will be actually following the mom pointing the cheek instead of the chin. So they do observe what you're doing instead of actually listening to you. So how you react to this situation, it helps the children to have a sense of belonging, that they are protected, that their parents are doing well, so they also can cope with the situation better. So
Right,
that's why it's very important. Try
right,
talking to them, educate them, spend time with them. Yeah, these kind of things that parents and educators can do.
right, right. So I think I got a few things from what you said, right? So first of all, the few things that you said, I think is creating an anchor. Like, even though the world around you is going to constantly change, you have an anchor, which is your daily
Yeah,
routines, your exercise, the kind of food you eat. You have an anchor to like sort of ground yourself no matter how much changes come about.
yeah,
The second thing that I got was, I think that was a very important point that you made about evaluating your thoughts. I think it was Fitzgerald. He said that the test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas at the same time, and then still retaining the ability to function. So it's like when things are changing, they should be able to evaluate, like what you said. Okay, they, instead of playing victim, you just see, okay, see it objectively. That's what you're saying, right? Like,
yeah,
this is what's happening, and this is what I'm gonna do. Right, right. I think that's very valuable, especially the part that you say, like from what I get is you don't exactly have to do something marvelous to make the children feel.
yeah,
You actually just have to be cool yourself, like just manage yourself, and they will learn to do the same by just looking at you, right?
yes,
So we got that. I hope a lot of parents got that as well, and they can apply this even though the MCO is over. So I hope they still apply all these things that they have heard from you.
yeah,
Now, of course, with the MCO also, there came another round of issues that parents have. You can see in a lot of parents group, right? They talk about screen time. There's been a lot of negativity surrounding screen time among teenagers. So, of course, with COVID-19, we have seen such a huge spike in screen time across the board. with every meeting going online, every school has gone online. So in your opinion, is an increasing screen time directly linked to mental health issues, or has it just been that screen time receiving unnecessary bad rap? What, in your opinion, and of course, if you can share from some mental health literature, it would be great as well.
All right, it's a good question. It's a topic that is always, it's a very debatable topic and it's an interesting topic. Yeah, screen time actually does affect your development of brain, and it causes some issues in terms of physical issues, physical health issues, or sleep problems and all. Yes, it does has a huge link. But like what you have mentioned, that this is a evolving world whereby gadgets and all, we live with it. So it's difficult to not use it. So you are using it for an online platform, for learning purpose. Like you see during MCO, all on classes were conducted online. So
Correct.
you spend a lot of screen time. So
Right.
yes, it does, it is required. But according to many researchers conducted, children's below the age of 18 months and below, they should not have screen time. It's not because that is a very important period of time for them, for their brain development and all. So,
Right.
but apart from that,
Uh-huh.
I think what is more important is parents' role or educators' role in the usage of this screen time among the children,
Okay.
because it's very important for parents to tell their children the purpose of using these gadgets and all, and guide them that it is for educational purpose. So when you start training them from a young age,
Uh-huh.
so when they grow up, they don't become addicted to it. They
Right.
know the purpose of using these gadgets is for an educational purpose. It's
Right.
not for them to waste time and all.
Right.
And the control is important among parents. When you start giving the autonomy for the students or for the children to actually pick what shows they want to watch, or how much time they want to spend in a very young age, that's when they lose the control when they grow up, because they have the autonomy to do it at a young age. So they
Right.
tend to misuse it when they grow up. So parents can actually choose the shows that they want to allow their children to watch, or also give them a specific time instead of allowing the children to watch as long as they want. Some parents, actually, I've seen this, they misuse these gadgets as a way to please their children.
Yeah, as a
This
pacifier, it's just
is,
like, yeah, you
yeah,
keep quiet now. I'll just give it to you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so that they can keep themselves quiet and they have a calm environment, which is actually quite wrong,
Uh,
because that is not the way. So the children will start thinking that they have the autonomy over this usage, so they can show tantrums to use these gadgets.
it's
So
not
that
just
is,
autonomy over the gadget; it's also autonomy over the parents. So now they know if they
yeah, yeah,
control their parents. Yeah. Yeah.
yes, yes,
Point. Very valid point. Actually,
yeah,
it's a very interesting argument that you're making, because what I understand from what you're saying, right? It technically is doesn't matter, right? It's even if it's outdoor. Like if let's say you let your child play outdoor from morning till night, obviously that's not going to be a good thing. Just like,
yeah,
right, anything too much is not going to be a good thing. But the
yes,
point that you made, that you can't change this, the world is changing, we are going to have more screen time, we are going
yes,
to have more technology, but the idea is that you teach your children discipline, you teach them how to use it for the proper purpose, and most importantly have a structure. That's what you're saying, like, okay,
yes,
there will be a time where they can be autonomous, but there will be a time that you will guide them that, okay, you only use screen time from this time to this time, and only for this purpose.
yes.
Right.
And the parents also can have a screen free zone whereby anyone, not only children, the parents should not use the gadgets during that time, maybe during meal time or
Right.
during when driving. So they are showing an example to their children that there are times that you don't need to use the gadgets. So when, if a parent is actually using a phone while a child is coming back and talking to them about school, and you're listening to it, yeah, but you're scrolling down the
Right.
news feed, so you're showing a bad example to them.
Right.
They start thinking that that gadget is a priority, in whereby it's wrong. So that's why parents need to show a good example to their children on how to use these gadgets and all. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if somebody's talking to you and you're scrolling, that just means that you don't care about them. Like, you're not communicating with them as well.
Yeah.
In this regard, I don't know if Miss Pauline is listening to me right now, is listening to the show right now, because she was sharing with me one thing, right? In their household, this is one of the parents who have enrolled their children at Pasxcel. So she recommends at her house, what she does is there is a particular hour they block out as reading time. So during that time, everyone in the house has to read. So because the parents themselves are reading, and apparently after they read, they actually write on the board, like, okay, this is the pages that we read today, and this is the book that we read today. So they lead by example. I think quite a number of issues now, I can get an idea that you're saying that actually you lead by example. That's where the children are following what they see,
Yeah.
what they do, right? Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, that brings us to the next question, right? I think this is something more of your expertise. It says we want to talk about the three factor of mental health issues, namely stress, anxiety, and depression. So I can share some things that I know about this, right? I noticed that the children that I've been teaching before we had Pasxcel, when I was still teaching tuition, I noticed that they had a more packed schedule than I did. So every time I have to reschedule the class, then I'll ask them, hey, are you available at this spot? And then they'll be like, oh, no, teacher, let me check my schedule. Oh, I have swimming. Today I can't. Tomorrow I have music. Then I have, language class. And then I have art session. They're just so busy. And I definitely have to side with the students on this one. There is just too much expectations on them, compared to any given time in history, I would say. Now, the question is, first of all, I'd like to ask you, how can parents and educators like ourselves use this to distinguish? We need a few, I would say, tips and tricks maybe to distinguish a normal teenager's mood swings compared to behavior signs of depression, because they have so much of expectations on them, and we can't differentiate between a kid who says like, oh man, I'm so stressed, compared to a kid who is actually stressed, or a kid who's actually depressed, because stress, depressed are words that teenagers throw around so much. So maybe you can give us a few tips, and how can we differentiate between stress, anxiety, and depression? So
All right.
I would like to hear your thoughts on this.
All right. So first thing is I'll talk about stress.
Okay.
All right. Stress is something normal. It's our normal body reaction towards a challenge or demand.
Mm.
So first thing parents need to educate their children is that having stress is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Having certain amount of stress is okay. It is part of life. Everyone faces stress.
Mm.
But how you're going to cope with the stress is very important. When it's too much, that's when problem arises. Coping stress is important, because if you don't cope your stress, that's why coping is very important. How to differentiate between a normal mood swings and depression is actually, when a child is having normal mood swing, it's because due to hormonal changes and all.
Mm-hmm.
So it's normal, and it's for a temporary period of time.
Mm.
But depression, it's not a temporary period of time. So
Okay.
based on we follow this thing, is called DSM-5, Diagnostic Statistical Manual. It's whereby it's a guidance for us to diagnose someone with mental health issues.
Okay.
So it should at least, if person with depression, they should have the symptoms for at least 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It's the symptoms, 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks. So then it's called, it is your children is showing some signs that he or she is having depression for
Right.
at least 2 weeks, and must have 5 or more of the symptoms. They have a criteria, a long list of symptoms. So I'll be talking about it later.
Okay.
So a long list of symptoms, and also it is affecting their life. I mean, in terms of going to school, or going to in terms of family events, or even friends. So it is affecting their social life, or their daily life. So these are the things that is different from normal mood swing. Normal mood swing is just a short period of time, while depression, it's a longer period of time. Yeah.
Right.
So this is the differences in
Okay.
terms of normal mood swing and depression. And many people get confused between being sad and having grief and being depressed.
Yes.
So they use the word "I am depressed" quite often,
Uh,
which is actually not right.
yeah.
being sad or be having grief, you have a reason behind why you're being sad or why you're grieving for. But depression is not like that. You don't have a reason why you are having a low mood. You don't have a reason why suddenly you don't feel like doing anything. So
Mm,
that is a huge difference between being sad. And people who are sad and grieving, they
mm.
don't feel worthless. They don't feel like their self-esteem is low.
Uh,
Compared to people who are depressed, they actually feel like they're worthless. And they feel like their self-esteem is very low. So these are a very uh, common differences that you can see.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So
So
coming, yeah.
go ahead, go ahead. I didn't want to cut you short.
Oh no, I was about to say that what is the differences between stress, anxiety, and depression.
Mm,
So yeah, stress, like what I've mentioned, is a normal reaction. So
right.
when it is not able to be controlled, that's when it becomes mental health issues.
Uh-huh.
Anxiety, coming to anxiety,
Mm,
being anxious is very normal. Like just now, before starting this live session, I was anxious. I was having a anxious feeling. Oh my god, nervous and all.
uh,
But that is normal when everybody face that. When you're going for a presentation is normal. So when a child is going for a presentation and he or she is having anxious feeling, that's normal. But when that feeling is continuous, even if after the presentation she still feels anxious,
mm,
it's throughout the whole time. Like in according to DSM-5, it
mm,
should be they have this criteria, within the 6 months
mm,
period of time,
mhm.
the number of days that you show your anxious feeling is more in that period of 6 months. So that is actually you're having an anxiety issue. But anxiety actually is there are many types of anxiety issues, but the
Okay,
one I'm talking is about general anxiety disorder. Yeah.
okay,
So
okay.
this is very general anxiety disorder is very common among Malaysians actually.
All right.
Yeah, there are quite a number of Malaysians who have anxiety disorder. So these are the differences that you can see.
Mm,
And if depression, like what I've mentioned, that loss of interest, loss of appetite, or some they gain weight, they either have insomnia or hypersomnia. So these are some of the symptoms people who have depression. While anxiety, they feel irritable, they have restless, they worried, feeling to cope with this feeling. So these are the symptoms. Yeah.
right, right. So to sum up, as an educator or as a parent, what I should look out is, I think it's very logical from what you say is, if the feeling is short, then there's
Yeah.
nothing to worry about. If the feeling is prolonged and it's going on and it's leading on to other symptoms, that's when we should worry about. But I draw a very interesting observation from whatever you said, right? So basically, it just leads back to normalizing negative behavior, because people tend to expect that they should be happy all the time. And
Yeah.
I think it's about the environment that we live in as well, because everybody's posting pictures of them being happy on Instagram, on
Yeah.
and everybody just shares happy news. Nobody actually is very truthful. So I think it sets the expectation that I should be happy all the time. And if they're not happy all the time, they think there's something wrong. But like what you're trying to say is, you should accept. Like stress is a
Yes.
good thing, because stress actually helps you perform better, like,
Yes.
achieve things in a shorter time and whatever. Not without stress, like I think they say, like, without stress you can't even form diamonds. So stress, if it's your perspective of stress, that's very important. And the
Yes.
other negative emotions, what you're trying to say is that it's okay as long as it's not that they lose self-worth and self-esteem, and then they should accept and process the negative feelings in a good way and move forward in life instead of just dwelling on it. So the most important takeaway, I feel, I don't know about our audience, because some of our audience have questions for you. So the ones who have dropped the questions, guys, just wait till the end of the session. We'll cover all the questions with Ms. Tachna. So what I understand so far is, don't dwell on it. Try to move on it, move from it as fast as possible, and you should be fine. Right? Okay. So interesting. So we still have quite number of questions. People are very encouraged by what you're saying. Yep. Now, let's move on to the next question that we've had from our parents. They said, like, I think you've addressed this. Some of them asked, what are some warning signs that we should look for maybe some example phrases frequently used by these troubled teenagers. So we've got loss of appetite, insomnia, and if anxiety is lasting in 6 months, more days you're anxious than the days you're not anxious and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is there any other phrases or like behavior that parents can look out and go like, okay, this is something that I should pay attention to?
So if a child is depressed,
Uh,
or if anyone, not even a child, if any normal any person that you know is depressed, they
mm-hmm.
tend to use this word that I am worthless. They
Mm,
use that phrase quite often. I'm worthless,
mm,
and they always say that uh, if they are gone,
mm,
nobody is going to be bothered if they are gone.
mm,
So those kind of phrases, and also uh, a lot of suicidal ideations. You know,
mm-hmm.
they give you the hints like, okay, I feel like they give you a lot of suicidal ideations. And yeah, like what I've said, the main phrase is like I am worthless.
Uh-huh.
And people around them, if they are not there, nobody's going to be bothered.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's the thing. And in terms of anxiety, apart from excessive worrying and excessive worry, and also being anxious and all,
Uh-huh.
children can also, you can see that if your child is actually trying to avoid school, giving reasons, like reasons that are unacceptable. And then when you start talking about school, and
Uh-huh.
then they feel like they don't want to go to school, and then they have muscle tension. And also they try to avoid certain situations that makes them anxious. So
Right.
these are the warning signs that you have to look into.
Right. Okay. So like those things actually become physical, you mean like muscle tension. Okay. So and they're avoiding certain things, they should be paying attention to this. Okay. So when the parents notice all this, right, Ms. Darshana, they feel like, okay, my child is avoiding school with the most ridiculous reasons, and or like, they're constantly falling sick whenever I say that, oh, you should go to swimming class, and then they're getting fever. So obviously there's something wrong there. And when parents notice all these things, how can parents assist their child?
All right. How can parents assist their child? First is talking to them.
Okay.
Try talking to them. See what are they going through.
Mm.
What are the issues that they're facing. So talking really helps. And listen to them. Not just talk. Listen to them. What they are trying to say.
Right.
Allow them to express their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they have any negative emotions, allow them to express.
Mm.
Allow them to be assertive when they're talking to you. So these are certain things that parents can do, and support them, and mainly try to modify your expectation towards them.
Mm.
Yeah, so this expectation is the one that is making them feel very stressed. And yeah, so try to modify your expectation. And you can also teach them some relaxation techniques. You can do it together with them, like certain exercises, deep breathing exercises, or yoga, meditation, these kind of things, because it's all a coping mechanism to help the children, even if they are having a problem in the future.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
these
I
kind
think
of things that parents can
that's
actually do
very
to help.
important, because I think I would like to highlight one important fact here. I think I read this somewhere where they said the suicide rate among men are actually higher than women.
Yeah.
And right, that's true, right? And then it's because I think, especially in Asian culture, they always tell boys, oh, you're a boy, you're not supposed to cry,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to feel this way. But then what you're saying is you just have to let it all out, right? Because I think I read this somewhere. They say it's better out than in. So if
Yes.
let go of all that negative emotion, at least it's gone. And apparently, women live longer because of their ability to cry, because they cry all out and then they're like, done. Okay, so now I'm done. I'm moving on. Whereas, like for men, I think they keep it in and it becomes worse. So I guess what you're trying to say is the way we approach our children should be like, okay, you're feeling bad now, just express it, just get it out, and then we are done. And I'm going to listen while you're talking. So
Yeah.
if the child's going to be assertive, you don't go and say like, oh, that's not how you talk to your dad, or that's not how you talk to your mom. Probably you teach them on how they can be respectful but
Yes.
still assertive at the same time. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. So I
Don't teach your child to be a passive person, especially when it comes to expressing their emotions. So when they don't choose to express their emotion, that's when they grow up, they have difficulties in actually expressing it to a friend, because they don't do it at home. So how are they going to do when they're to a friend? So that's when all these emotions pile up, that's when it's going to be an outburst in the future.
Correct, correct. Okay, so talking about outbursts in future, I think that leads us to the next question. This is a very big topic. It's about bullying. So bullying can be in many forms. We know that it's not just physical bullying. Nowadays, there's a lot of cyber bullying as well. So just to share with people who are listening, we have had in the past, and we still have students who come to us because they have been bullied, and they've been bullied really badly. Like one of the students that I've spoken to, like, the person actually lost so much of weight. They're terrified to go to school, and it happens. So when they come to me, generally what I do is I console them. Of course, I tell them this is just part of life. It does not define them. It's not who they are as a person. They are not a bully victim. This is something, this is just a part of life. They will get out of it. And I try to reframe the situation. I always tell them that, like, try to see how this can be a positive thing that you can use in life. There's many things that we do at Pasxcel to help them cope. But there is one thing that I never understood, and I'm extremely curious about it. Why does bullying actually happen? Like, these are kids. Why do they behave so badly towards another kid? Yeah, I'm really curious. I want to hear from you.
All right. Okay, that's another interesting topic. Yes, bullying.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there are many victims of bullying and all. So why bullying happens is actually there are many reasons behind it. But some of the reasons that I know that is because of power,
Mm-hmm.
whereby due to power, because when you bully someone, you have a sense of control. You have a control of power. So you feel that you're more powerful than the person. So power is one of the reasons.
Mm.
The next reason is peer pressure.
Okay.
So when you want to fit into a group, you have to, sometimes when a group of friends, you say, okay, you want to fit in, you have to bully this boy or bully this girl so you can fit into the group. So peer pressure is also there. And apart from that, it's also problems in the family itself. So
Okay.
when you are from a problematic family whereby your parents are abusive and aggressive and all, this violence actually makes them or influence them to actually bully someone because they are brought up in such a situation. So that is also another reason. Another one is also pleasure, whereby they feel, your life is very boring and you feel like, okay, this bullying gives me some excitement, they get the pleasure. Yes, it's because of pleasure. And also it's also because of loss of parents don't give attention to their children, so they seek this attention through this kind of bullying. So when they are bullied, they're called in school, so at least then the parents are actually will tend to pay attention. So the lack of attention is actually causing this kind of issues. So this is one of the reasons why people are being bullied. And also popularity. So because you see, when you're bullied and then you're bullying someone,
Huh?
you become popular, so to seek the popularity. So these are some of the reasons why people are bullying another person. Yeah.
Right, right. So from what you're saying, right, it looks to me more like, instead of the bully victim, the one who's bullying should seek mental health
Yes.
as fast as possible.
Yes, that's very true.
More deep-rooted issues from the person who got bullied.
Yeah.
Think very, very interesting perspective on why this is happening. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now,
All right.
the next question I have is, many victims don't open up soon enough. So I think we've read so many news about this, how parents discovered too late about the fact that the child was being bullied, especially when it's cyberbullying, right? So how can parents spot that their child is being bullied early on? How can they find out as fast as possible?
All right. If you see, if it's a physical bullying, if
Mm-hmm.
you notice any unexplained injuries on your children, so that is something that you have to look into.
Mm-hmm.
So because suddenly your child is having some injury that is, and she or he doesn't have a reason to behind this injury. So that is one of the things that parents can look into: unexplained injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And then sudden loss of uh, weight, or or eating habit. There are changes in their eating habit, and sudden loss of friends. Suddenly you see they're not having much friends, or the friends they used to have they're not having right now. Or also troubled sleep, avoiding school, like what I've mentioned in the previous, when they tend to avoid school and they give reasons for avoiding school. And they show a lot of emotions when you start talking about school. Maybe like parents come back and they ask, how was your day?
Mm-hmm.
And when they talk about the school, when they show a lot of emotions, so there's something wrong. Why is your child suddenly showing a lot of emotions when talking about school? Because talking about school is a normal conversation that they have in a daily life.
Uh-huh.
So these are the things that parents can look into when their child is being bullied. Yeah, so
Right.
some of the signs, symptoms. Yeah.
Right. So this is something that, because I've spoken to quite a number of parents who have faced this issue before, and quite a number of them, right, they feel very torn, because they feel like, okay, if I take my child out of school, is that me telling my child that, oh, if situation gets hard, it's you run the other way? Like, is it me like giving them an opportunity to be weak and whatever not? So generally, my advice towards them is that I tell parents that, you just have to give your child that safe space to grow, to become an
Yeah.
adult first. Like, a child is not a fully grown adult yet. So in your opinion, if let's say they realize that the child is being bullied in school, what are the parents supposed to do? Because parents are really torn. Like, this is my advice to them, and what would your advice be once they notice that?
So first parents have to listen to them without judging or criticizing about what has happened. That is very important,
Right.
because that will give them
Mm,
a feeling that okay, they are in a safe space,
mm,
that okay, their parents are listening
mm,
to them, and you have to talk to them,
mm,
offer comfort, and support them during this time,
mm.
and also praise them for actually coming up and talking to you,
Right.
because it takes a lot of courage to actually bring up about this.
Mm,
Yeah, it's not an easy task.
right.
So parents should praise them for actually to talk to, because they're actually opening it up. They are seeking an adult's advice. So that is a very important part. That is what parents have to do. And also parents must assure them that the bullying is not their fault, because many bullied victims actually think that it's their fault for being bullied.
Yeah.
Something is wrong with them and it's their fault for being bullied. So
Yeah.
parents have to assure that
Mm,
to the children that it's not their fault. It's not their fault for wearing specs. It's not their fault for having pimples. It's not their fault for having dark skin. So that is not a reason for people to be bullied. So
yeah.
they have to assure that to the children that it's not their fault.
Mm,
And then you can also talk to school authorities, but that depends on if the child is okay for
all
you to actually bring up this issue in school.
right.
If at all the child doesn't want, you can maybe try telling that you can talk to the school authorities during uh, after school hours, so that not many people will know about it.
Mm,
And like what you said, change of environment, if the child feels that change of an environment is what is required, then I think it's okay to change and to give us a safer space for the children.
right. 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 Okay. So I've gotten all that. Basically, you're saying is, I think in the end of the day, right, what I notice is you have to have good communication with your children. You
Yes.
need to learn how to listen without judgment. And I particularly want to underline and highlight that one point that you made, telling them that it's not their fault. And I think that is also a very important thing, that you as a parent or as an educator, we continuously strive to build their self-esteem and confidence, because that automatically will, build them not to be bullied. Like, if they ever get bullied, they know automatically that it's not their fault, it's some other person's fault for doing that to them. I think you raised a valid point there. Now, in your opinion, can online learning be a beneficial medium for victim bullies to have a safer space to learn in the comfort of their own homes? What's your opinion on this one?
Yeah, I think it's okay to have an online platform, like what I've mentioned is change of environment if you're bullied in school, and online platform is a safer space. But there's also cyberbullying, you see. So that's why the role of educators and parents are very important in making sure that after the bullying incident, they are able to cope, they're able to reframe their thoughts, they're able to live their life, okay, move on with what has happened. So reframing their thoughts and provide guidance for them, that is very important.
Yeah, yeah. I think Yeah, you raised a very valid point here. Actually, I need to share in what really happened. Yeah. So like what I noticed is when we said, okay, this particular person, this particular student, when we brought him in, and then he was quite terrified the fact that he even has to be in a in a virtual class with somebody else. He was super terrified. So like what you said, I don't think that thing goes away so easily.
Yeah.
Then I have to talk. I convinced him, and then I introduced him to his classmates, and made him talk to other people. So I told him, you can talk to these boys. Not everybody is like who you experienced. It's not like every person is out there. And yeah, I really agree that educators have to play a role, and they really have to always be vigilant whether this is happening, even though it's a virtual space. So yeah, that's a very valid point as well. Thank you so much for sharing that point. Now we are moving on to the next question. The next question is a bit deeper. It's about clinical depression. So one of our students wrote this for us. He said that clinical depression has surged to epidemic proportions in recent decades. At any one time, it is estimated apparently that more than 300 million people have depression. So that makes about 4% of the world's population, when the figures were published by the World Health Organization in 2015. In the US, suicide rates are at the highest since World War II. However, these topics continue to be a taboo in Asian families. What do you think educators and educators like us at Pasxcel Academy can do to break the taboo? So they're asking, what can educators do to break the taboo around mental health issues?
All right. What educators can do is actually talk about this, talk about mental health issue.
Mm.
Talking to them actually help them to be aware of what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So talking to them and actually, and if they have some kind of misconception regarding mental health issues, because we've all been brought up in different families. So certain families have this values, like maybe they think that okay, people with mental health issue is there's something wrong with them. So
Mm.
if you are having a student who has this kind of misconception,
Mm-hmm.
the educators should actually challenge these misconceptions and teach them actually the right part or right direction, show them the right direction, that it's okay that you have a mental health issue. It's not it's just like having a physical health issue. It's okay.
You will
Yes.
make fun of a person who has cancer, right? Like if somebody has like
Yes.
diabetes or heart attack, you won't, or cardiac arrest, you won't laugh at them. So similarly,
Yes.
I think people don't get that mental health issue is a real issue. It's actually
Yes.
like it's real. It's people tend to think like, oh, the person's just making it up, they just feel down today. So now we are starting to slowly be more aware the fact that this is real, that people's emotions do physically harm people and whatever not. Yeah, so that's great that okay, so
And also allow them to talk to you, like have this open door policy whereby you can actually allow the children to come and students to actually come and talk to you regarding their mental health issue. So that will give them confidence that okay, it is okay to be not okay. You see that
mm,
you have days that you're up, there are days that you're feeling low and feeling up, so it's okay. So give them that space, that so that they have the confidence to come and talk to you about this. If they can't actually open it up to their family, at least the educators are there.
correct. I think this is another thing that I'm very proud of, how Pasxcel works, because we always tell teachers, right? Because we are very picky about who we bring in as teachers, and when we bring in teachers, we always tell them you don't need to exactly be a teacher and just repeat the syllabus, because that YouTube is there for that. You're supposed to form a relationship, because like what you're saying, unless I form that trust and that bond with a person, they won't open up to me.
Yeah.
Right, that trust is very important. So I think as an educator, yes, you must have an open door policy, but I also think for you to always put yourself and like position yourself as a person that they can trust and they can come to, that is also quite important. Right, I think you answered that greatly. I hope any teachers who are listening to this, they learned a lot. Now, the next thing is we're going to ask your opinion on something. This is personally from me, because I believe cultivating a proper mindset is key to keeping our students mentally strong. We've had discussions about this, but I just wanted to hear you share your thoughts to the rest of them who are watching now. How can parents or educators, right, build drive and self-confidence in their children, so they don't fall prey to all these things. Because if you notice throughout our conversation, I noticed that it's more about self-esteem, confidence, just believing in yourself. These are the things that actually, the lack of these things are actually the ones that are leading to mental health issues. So as a parent or an educator, how can we give this or build this in students?
Right, because I believe in the concept CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, whereby our mind, our thoughts, feelings, and behavior all are connected. So changing our thoughts, like what you have mentioned, positive thoughts actually help us to be more resilient, to be more to be more resilient and able to cope with things better. So I believe in that too. So like what you said, how can parents actually help is by being supportive towards their children and encourage them whenever they go for a competition. Support them. Even if you're not able to attend a competition, at least when they're back, talk about it, praise them for what they have done. Sometimes what children's mostly lack is self-love. They feel like they're not worthy because they are not being loved enough. So when parents actually tell them, okay, you did a good job, you went for the competition, it's okay if you didn't win the competition, but you tried your best. These kind of things parents should actually talk to them, say, praise them whenever they do, reinforce positive behaviors.
Correct.
These are the things that, and promote self-talk, positive self-talk, because many children actually have a lot of negative self-talk. So promote positive self-talk so that when they're facing a tough situation, they're able to tell to themselves, it's okay, I can do this, I can get through this. So promote all this in a very young age. So this is very important that parents need to look into.
No,
Yes.
I think that's very interesting because, yeah, I can completely relate to this because when I started teaching, right? So when I got this class where it was a complete failure, the class, the whole maths class when I inherited was a failure, and they had exactly what you said. They will always tell me, teacher, I cannot lah, I very stupid, I don't like math, like, I hate math, I very stupid. They use that exact word, I am very stupid. So I keep telling them, right, it's affirmation. So what I used to tell them is affirmation. You just affirm every day that you can do it, that you'll get better. And also, like, I think I put it in a perspective that, okay, it's not rocket science. Anybody can do this. Thousands of people have done it and they can do it. So yeah, I did see a huge improvement when I put that in place. And I think the other thing that you said is also true. I also tried doing this in class and it definitely works wonders. I think parents who are listening can do this. What you're saying is, whatever that you focus on grows. So if you focus on the fact that the child tried, then the child is going to keep trying. And obviously, if they keep trying, they're going to keep getting better. Whereas if you focus on the, oh, you failed, it's okay, like, you can try again next time, then it's a completely different. It's the same thing you're saying, but the way you say it is very important to build the self-confidence, if I get you right. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very true. And especially do not compare your child with another child. This
Uh-huh.
is something that they start, when you start comparing them with another child, that's when they have these self-doubt issues. They start doubting themselves. They feel like they're not capable enough because you're comparing with another person. Parents, that's one thing that parents should stop doing, is comparing their child with another child,
Okay.
because every child is different and
Right.
their abilities are different. So this is something that parents should also
Right.
focus on.
Don't keep saying that, hey, your cousin did better in the test, you should do better
Yeah.
too. This kind of things. Guys, don't say that. That's not nice. Okay, so before we go to the last question, we actually have a few questions on the comment section. Let me just read it out to you. So one of the last questions that we've got is, one of the parents have asked, okay, how do you help bully victim to overcome the fear of mixing with friends? Do they need any therapy? This is
Uh,
the question.
yeah, it's a good question. So, if a child, if he's not able to cope, even after you have reframed the thoughts and have talked to your child, and he or she is not able to, some children actually choose to talk to a third person instead of talking to their parents or to their educators. They prefer talking to a third person. So it's good if you can bring your child for counseling therapy. They will help you to cope with the situation better.
Right. And I think parents should not get should not feel bad that if they don't feel comfortable. It's okay as long as they talk to someone, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if they have this fear, and if your children are not opening up to you, and then it's okay to bring them to a therapist and a counselor. So yeah, that's pretty normal to go for a counseling session. Okay, great. Then another question that we've got here is, okay, this is a bit personal. I think Miss Linda Lee, she's asked, my son is already 24, graduated, but not interested to get a job. What advice can you give me to encourage him to go out there to find a job? Yes, this is the question.
Okay.
Mm.
What I can say is maybe Miss Linda can actually talk to the child, to
Mm-hmm.
her son.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, why is the reason? Maybe there is something. Maybe the course that he has taken is not something that he wants to work on,
Mm.
because it's normal for kids, to just pick up a course and study and then end up working in another field. So
Mm.
this happens. So maybe that could be the reason. Maybe he has a reason why he's not he don't want to move, or don't want to go to a working
Mm.
setting. Maybe as a mother, she can say that even if he takes up any job, maybe he's just afraid that the job that he's going to choose is not relevant to what he studied.
Mm.
So maybe as a mother, she can talk to him and find out what is the reason. Maybe he has some kind of reason why he doesn't want to make a step further.
Right.
Or maybe he's just anxious. It's normal, like after studying and then you suddenly want to step into a
Right.
working life. So as a parents, you can be supportive to them. You can also share your experience to them,
Mm.
how you felt, how you went through this. So that will give them assurance that being anxious before starting a first job is normal.
Mm.
So how you're going to take the first step, so you can use your life as an example to help your children.
Right, right. I think that also opens up to another comment. Like, I think a lot of children, right, especially when they graduate high school, because I've heard this so many times. Parents come to me and go like, "Oh, my child doesn't know what they want to do after high school." And my first initial thought is like, "Of course they don't know. They're like 15, 16. They're still in school. Obviously they don't know." So, which is why, like with Pasxcel, we usually do our fellowship program, which right after they graduate early, and then they at least try to explore a few things. Because I've heard many times from my friends, if they always share to me that if I was ever made to tailgate a houseman doctor, there's no way I would have been a doctor. Or like a lot of people, like what you said, after they finish their course, they realize that this is not my cup of tea. I made a bad decision. So I encourage a lot of parents to just let the children explore and make a decision later on. And with Miss Linda's case, I think what you said is open communication. Just try to find out what is the motive behind why he's not motivated, so you can address the problem better. So let me check if there are any other questions left. Okay, there's one more question. I think you addressed this already, but maybe you want to sum it up. Ms. Pushnam asked that how to actually identify a person with mental issues, because 50% of them look normal and they try to act normal. So yeah, that sounds like
Yeah.
a valid question, but you've addressed that. Maybe you just want to sum it up for her sake.
Yeah, like what I've mentioned, that yeah, they look normal, they act normal, but the thing is that there are certain things, like what I've mentioned, some of the phrases they use, like I'm worthless,
Correct.
and you look at them, most of the days they are in very low mood,
Mm.
or they are not able to and if all these symptoms that I've mentioned just now,
Mm.
it's disrupting their daily life, like
Mm.
on daily basis there's some disruption. They're not able to, people with depression, sometimes they're not able to go to work
Mm.
because they feel so low. So this is actually it causing an impairment in their life. So
Mm.
these kind of things that they have to look into. Yeah.
So you just
So I
need to be a
think,
bit more attentive and pay attention.
yeah, and if you feel like your friend or someone is not okay, he's having some kind of issues,
Mhm.
talk to them.
Right,
Maybe sometimes what all people need is someone to listen.
right, right.
That is what they don't have a person to listen to. So talk to them, and if they feel like, okay, they don't want to talk to you, you
Mm-hmm.
can try searching for some places or some counselors or therapists out there,
Mm.
and recommend, you can maybe go and give a try. If you
Mm.
feel like you don't have someone to talk to, as a friend, I am seeing this, you can actually talk out of a concern. You can actually ask them, I am noticing these certain changes in yourself, are you okay?
Mm.
Sometimes when you open up, they feel like, okay, someone cares about me, so they try to open up.
Right, right. Okay, so Miss Mushnam, I hope that helps
So
you.
these are the things that they can look into.
Right. I hope everybody. So that I think that was the last question that we had from the viewers. So we've covered quite a bit of questions. Right. So let's go on and close the session. So this would be the last one from us at Pasxcel. So we wanted to ask, lastly, if anyone who is listening to this right now is battling any mental health issues whatsoever, what would you like to say to them?
All right. First thing I would like to say is that you're not alone. We
Okay.
are all are here to help each other, you see, so you're not alone. And it's okay to seek mental health, to seek help from mental health professionals. It's okay.
Yeah.
Because like what I've mentioned earlier, mental health is equally important as physical health. So that is something people have to really, really look into.
Mm,
So like how much importance you're giving to your physical health, you
mm,
should also give importance to your mental health. So there are many ways to seek for counseling
mm,
in Malaysia. So one way is actually to go for private. You can call and make appointment with private hospitals, private clinics to
mm,
have a counseling session.
mm,
And also, if you want to approach government hospitals, you have to go to Klinik Kesihatan, see a GP there,
mm.
get a referral letter, and then you go to a hospital, see their psychiatry department, fix an appointment, and have a counseling session. Or you
Right.
can also, PPUM, University Malaya Medical Center, actually have walk-in sessions Monday to Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. So
Right.
that was before MCO, but now I'm not really sure if they are still doing the same. So you can look into that. And also you have online options like Befrienders, and our government has come up with Talian Kase.
Mm.
So all this is something that people can look into. Yeah. And last thing is like what I've mentioned, uh, as since I believe in CBT,
Mm,
positive thoughts and all. So
mm,
I believe that like just how you to be healthy physically, you
mm,
eat a balanced diet and all. So same goes to be mentally healthy. I believe that if you feed your mind or your thought with more positive thoughts and all, it'll help you to cope with situations better. So when
right,
you're put into a tough situation, you're able to cope with it better because you have higher self confidence and self esteem that you can overcome this. So yeah, that's
right.
the thing.
I think that goes along with what Gandhi said, that you should not allow anybody to just trample in the garden of your mind. So you're very careful with what you cultivate in your mind. I think so parents hopefully they
Yeah.
hear that and they understand that just like how you have exercise and diet, so positive affirmation and positive thoughts help you form a stronger, healthier mental health. So we have come to the end of the session. So thank you for your time, Ms. Dashna, for sharing so much insight regarding mental health with everyone tonight. We hope our discussion today could benefit a lot of parents, students, and even teachers out there dealing with mental health issues as a whole. So hopefully this was really helpful. Also, if any of you who found this useful, or you think that anybody should hear from Ms. Dashna, don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. They could learn a thing or two from our sharing. And as usual, if you have questions at all that we haven't covered in this session, leave it in the comment section below and we will try our level best to answer them. So see you guys in our next live
And
sessions.
thank you very much for this opportunity.
Right, right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I hope that people have, whoever viewed this,
Mm.
learned something about mental health. Yeah. So thank
Right.
you very much.
All right. So take care. Goodbye and good night.
Bye.